Two cases this fall may require the Supreme Court to step in and decide whether states can execute murderers suffering from mental illness and who allegedly no longer remember their crimes. Joining me to talk about this is Molly Barrows, legal journalist for the Trial Lawyer magazine. Look, the case that's going up involves Vernon Madison.
Yes.
Okay, so Vernon Madison, he's been locked up for more than 33 years. Mobile, Alabama is where he killed Julius Schulte. Now, and so the Supreme Court is going to hear whether or not we should go ahead and carry out the execution, because Vernon says, well, I don't remember everything.
Right.
So I would imagine that the family of Julius Schulte says, we don't really care
if he remembers,
whether you remember or not. You killed my father. You killed my husband.
Right.
What's your take?
Right. Just because you don't remember doesn't mean he's not dead or we don't remember.
Right. Exactly.
So, yes, he was convicted in 1985 of killing the man that you just said. He was an Alabama police officer. He had a number of appeals for a variety of reasons. There were a couple of different issues with the sentencing itself. So he appealed it in 2015. That appeal was upheld. And during that time, he had a series of strokes. His health continued to deteriorate. Now he's got a form of dementia. And although he knows that he is being executed for murdering someone, he has no other memories of the crime, can't even recite the alphabet. So his attorneys are saying it's cruel and unusual punishment to kill a man who basically you're not going to get any retribution for his crime because he doesn't even remember what he did.
Well, okay, but let's talk about retribution. First of all, it's more than retribution, isn't it? The death penalty also surrounds the idea of deterrence.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the things that they're arguing in Mobile and they're arguing in Alabama is, look, we don't really care whether he remembers exactly the horrible thing that he did. He's lived for 33 years longer than the victim. That's the argument.
You're right.
And we don't really care whether he doesn't know all the details. And we're not even sold on the idea that he doesn't remember. And so, I mean, it's kind of, and plus they raise the issue, look, if the laws were right, he wouldn't have lived for 33 years. We would have killed him, 2 years after he killed Julius Schulte. These are the arguments that are surfacing.
And they always come up, don't they? With every single one of these cases, it comes up for the Supreme Court dealing with the death penalty. And they've got another case coming up in November, which is similar in nature, although this particular inmate isn't claiming dementia. He's basically saying, I've got this other series of health problems, which include these blood-filled blisters, if you will, that I know it's gross, but like he's saying, if you strap me to the gurney, I'm going to suffocate on my own blood. So long story short, these are aging inmates that are on death row. It creates a variety of reasons, which all go to either cruel and unusual punishment in the minds of a defense attorney, or as you were saying, there's still some value for retribution, but they're saying there isn't any value in retribution because the deterrent factor is gone when they're medically disabled or somehow physically disabled.
But the deterrent to the public, you see, okay, we know that Madison lived for 33 years. After he killed Julius Schulte, whose family had to live through that.
Right.
And now Julius is dead. This guy's lived another 33. These are the arguments coming out of the court right now. This is what the Supreme Court's going to hear. Now, the Supreme Court has already heard two earlier decisions.
Right.
And give me a rundown on the decision. How do they impact anything?
Basically, the bottom line is the Supreme Court says you can't kill anyone who is mentally disabled, who isn't aware of what they've done. And in these particular cases, there is some level of awareness, at least for Vernon Madison. Russell Bucklew's not even saying that he didn't kill the person. He's just saying that he's protesting the method by how they're going to do it.
Yeah.
So he actually offered him up, hey, will you kill me by the gas chamber instead? And the appeals court said, no, you didn't really show us that that's going to be any better for you than the lethal injection. But
so he's saying, look, I know you're going to execute me.
Right.
I'd rather go by a gas chamber than I would lethal injection.
So I don't suffocate my own blood, is his argument. But it is interesting because you go back to the deterrent question, and I think that's why the point of this particular article that I read in The Atlantic, anyway, was bringing it up. Because the appeals process takes so long, you end up having these murderers have more value and attention in the court system than the victims themselves. So it's the same issues that come up, and is it really a deterrent to sit on death row for 30 years, whatever the reason is, whatever technicality you find to appeal on? And let's face it.
A prediction. Case number one that you described, Vernon Madison loses. I really feel he loses. I think case number two, probably they're going to give this guy some kind of choice, maybe, that could be determined as cruel and unusual. I think he has got a better shot than case number one. But I do want to, we got just a couple of minutes.
Sure.
the bottom line to this argument coming out of Mobile is that it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant whether the person remembers all the details or not. It doesn't make any difference. What's your take on that?
If it's irrelevant, I think the whole issue of the death penalty really, to a great extent, is irrelevant. If it's about deterrent, then we need to come up with a system that makes it more of a deterrent. Because if you're a person committing a crime, A, like you said earlier, they may not necessarily think they're going to get caught. And if they are caught, then they have this whole legal system that basically values the murderer over the victim because they put so many resources into helping with appeals and this, that, and the other. And in some cases, it may be warranted and justified. Yeah. It's
Molly,
a tough one.
Thanks for joining me. Remember my predictions. Number one, I don't believe he's going to make it.
I think you're right.
Number two, you got some possibilities there.
Thanks, Pat.